We are on the final of the Monk subclasses, so let's go ahead and do a features dive into the way of the Sun Soul. Starting off, we have Radiant Sunbolt. Now, Radiant Sunbolt has plenty of problems, but it does have some advantages, so let's get into it. Well, first and foremost, we are competing directly with the short bow, and the short bow wins that competition except for a few cases. The short bow has more range, and it's going to do more damage between the levels of 1 and 4. So where does Radiant Sunbolt beat the short bow? Well, it doesn't require ammo, it does radiant damage instead of non-magical piercing, and if we're willing to spend a key point, it allows us to do essentially a flurry of blows at range. But if those factors aren't coming into play, the short bow's range, which is over 2.5 times as much as Radiant Sunbolt, is going to come into play, not to mention the extra damage. So it kind of puts Radiant Sunbolt in a niche position. The struggles of Radiant Sunbolt don't end there, because if we're comparing them to a normal monk who just runs up, the normal monk gets to use D8s for their base attacks, where we have to use D4s. So that's a significant damage decrease, and then the melee monk also gets a free bonus action attack. We do not. We have to use a key point to get any extra bonus action attacks. And not only that, the melee monk can use Stunning Strike, where we cannot. So what this leaves us with is a couple of niches. Niche number 1 is that we want to be at range, but we don't have the ammo to do it. Pretty rare niche. Niche number 2 is that we're fighting a creature who has resistance to our piercing or bludgeoning damage, and the radiant damage they do not. So it comes into play there. Similarly, if they are weak to radiant damage, Sunbolt can shine. And finally, the most common reason we're going to be using this is we want to do a ranged flurry of blows attack. Now, where we sacrifice all of this offense, what we gain out of it is that we can be amazing hit and runners. With that extra 30 feet of attack range, we can really hit who we need to hit, and then we can get away. So it's very, very likely that we're going to be doing some sort of hex build with the Sun Soul. Our damage output is just too low otherwise, and that's a way we can get it to be at least medium. Moving into our 6th level feature, we get to do Burning Hands as a bonus action for 2 key points. We can upcast it for another key point, but overall, this is very, very weak. If you think about it, Burning Hands at 6th level for 1st level spell, I mean, we got a 1st level spell at 6th level. No, it's not going to be very good at that level, and it's definitely not going to be 2 key points good. The niches that this fills are so slim. I mean, you need to light something on fire, or they line up perfectly so you're hitting like 6 people. Those are the only times you're going to ever want to use this. Overall, this is a completely garbage feature. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Next up, we have Searing Sunburst. Think about Fireball. That's how we start. It's basically like you can action whenever you want, cast Fireball with no key points. However, there's some changes. First off, we're going to do 2d6 instead of 8d6 of damage. Now we can add key to get up to that 8d6, but it's going to be 3 key to get there. It's going to deal radiant damage instead of fire damage. It's going to be a constitution save instead of a dexterity save, which is worse. And then if they save, they don't take half damage, which is also worse. Overall, it's a worse Fireball that you're getting 6 levels after Fireball. So Fireball already has dropped off quite a bit at this level, and this is worse than that. However, it is spammable high-ranged AoE blasts. Spammable AoE blasts, very few people follow that niche. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anyone else who can do these AoE blast action after action after action. And it's going to outrange everything else we're doing, even the short bows, by a significant amount. So if we need to be doing stuff at 150 feet to about 85 feet, at that range, we can really be spamming these sunbursts. And so it does have niches that it can fill. Now to take note, our first feature is a dex-based feature, and this feature is a wisdom-based feature. Now we need to get to level 11, so we're likely going to be a dex, so we're not going to have the highest wisdom at this point, but this makes it worth investing in our wisdom. So we are very likely going to be focused on our dexterity, then focused on our wisdom, then focused on our constitution afterwards, or feats. At level 17, we get Sun Shield, another wisdom-based feature, but this one is so underwhelming. We turn it on and we become a beacon of light. We become a nightlight. 30 feet of bright light, 30 feet of dim light. Okay, so we're a beacon of light, 17th level. Okay, but we can also use our reaction to deal up to 10 points of damage back to our enemy. This is 17th level. 10 points is very, very little for a reaction. It would still be bad if we didn't have to use a reaction and it was every hit we did 10 damage back. It would be significantly better, but this is just really, really underwhelming and bad. Another garbage feature on our list. So Sun Soul is often called the worst subclass in the game, and you can kind of see why here. We have 2 features that are niche, and then we have 2 features that are hot garbage. So it puts us in this weird spot. However, I do believe that if you build with an optimized mindset, you can get a playable character at the majority of tables. And that to me says a lot about this game, that even the worst of the worst, we can get to a playable place for most tables. Now this has just been my take on the Sun Soul features. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. The next deep dive is going to be the Sun Soul build, where I try and optimize it as much as I possibly can. If you'd love to show your support for the channel and gain some benefits while doing it, we do have a Patreon, so go ahead and check that out. But other than that, hope you have yourself an incredible day, and we'll see you on the next one. See you, love you, bye.